All right, it's 3 o'clock on the dot. Let's get started. Thanks everyone for joining us for the October 18th, 1st and 3rd at 3 o'clock. We are going to be covering Darwin Cloud and some a little lesser known things about it. The things we're going to cover today are a little bit more agent facing rather than processing closings or contracts. So I'm pretty excited to show you some of these things. As usual, if you do have a question, feel free to unmute, or you can type it in the chat box. I do have that open, but I do like the conversation kind of style. So feel free at any time if you have any questions, just unmute and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm guessing that. Thank you, Brenda. All right, I'm going to present. And I do already have Darwin Cloud open, so I won't show you the logon process. I feel like everybody kind of has that under their belt by now. You may see though when you log in that two-factor authentication is back. It is a little bit different. You don't have to do it every time now. There is a box you can check to remember the computer for 30 days. So the next time you log in, feel free to check that box. And there is a little token that stores on your computer. As long as you don't change browsers or computers, you should not have to do that for 30 days. So give that a try. If you have any issues getting in, just feel free to reach out. So the couple of things I was going to cover today are some global luxury features, how to add those features, what agents need if they are that global luxury certified to get them to show on the website, some commission notices, some things like that. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. And again, if you have any questions, you can chat or unmute and we will take a look. Okay, so I'm going to pull up an agent. So I'm going to go to my search. I'm just going to use Sean Smith for this one. She, I know, is global luxury certified and has some things that we're going to cover. So she does here have a few profiles, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick her agent profile. I can also search that in the type here if I wanted to narrow it down in my filters at all. So I'm going to open her profile. And the first thing I want to show you is the people basics. One of the things we get a lot of the questions on is why their website isn't showing in their profile on CB Great Lakes or Sunstar or whatever region you're from, the URL that covers the company you're in. I did pull up the CB Great Lakes website for an example because it's just sometimes just easier to see than to explain. So right now I just have the CB Great Lakes URL up, and I'm going to go to agents and offices. And this is something I think I would advise all ASCs to do to double check, just to make sure that we're marketing our agents and their listings properly. So now that I went here, I went to the agents and offices. It does show me that we have 39 offices for this DBA and this many agents and some staff. I'm just going to look at the offices, and right here, if you scroll down, they are in alphabetical order. So I'm going to use our Bel Air office as an example. I'm going to call out Becky. No hard feelings, Becky. Just the first one that came up in alphabetical, and you can see it's updating here.
All good.
I'm going to scroll down, and the thing that we're going to cover here is what I'm talking about is if you go and you hover over the agents, you're going to see here that this Deborah has a website toggle right here. Now this will link to her website so that any prospectors could easily find her and her information through there. You're going to see here, David, he does not have that toggle, the website toggle. So that's the difference of the two, when one has it and when one doesn't. Now, the reason David doesn't have it is he probably needs some information updated in his Darwin Cloud or AccountTech profile. Now, if you remember the way that information feeds, it starts with Darwin Cloud or AccountTech at this point. And then it goes to Dash, and then it's going to go to the websites. So any information we need to update on these websites, we want to start in AccountTech or Darwin Cloud. They're one and the same. So if you hear me saying either one of those, it's going to be Darwin Cloud, but I'm still using the Citrix app. But for some things, in this case, I'm going to do it in Darwin Cloud, and I'm going to show you how to get his website button to show. Now, I don't have David open right now, but that's what the example I'm going to give you here. So the website, you want to put it right here where it says URL. You're going to go to this person's website, and this may be their Moxie website as well, which a lot of the formats are first name dash last name dot CB Great Lakes or whatever DBA you use .com. So you're just going to copy and paste that URL into that button right here. And that's what's going to feed Dash. And that's what's going to feed the websites. It does not go in the website down here. It's very kind of confusing and tricky. It's not where we put their website. It's actually in the URL. So it would be wise to go through your staff or the agents in your office and just double check that they do have that URL. One more thing I just want to point out in here is just verifying that all your agents are showing and that they have a headshot. Like Mike Piscopo is probably because it's his manager profile. Make sure they have a headshot, their website's showing, and that nobody's showing. Like Becky, you could probably go into your Moxie profile and just toggle that off. So if there's any staff in there that shouldn't be showing, I'm going to actually pull up Moxie Works really quick. And
good to know, because I hate my picture.
It's not bad. A little bit off track here, but I do feel it's important, so I'm going to try to do it as long as it cooperates pretty quickly. And then under their management tool, we're going to go to Manage Company. You can also search right here. So I'm going to just pull up Becky. Oops, I won't spell it right. You may have Manage Office or anything like that. So here's Becky's profile. There's very little things we can do in Moxie these days. If you do have a camera button, you can do the photo. But right here is where I'm going to click my edit button, and I'm going to turn off her profile. So it is no longer visible. So that is something you can do through Moxie there. You can also do it through, and I'm going to save it through Dash, but I actually find it easiest here. So just kind of a couple little things there with that. Now, so that's going to how you're going to get the website button in their profile on the CB Great Lakes or the DBA, the company website. One other thing in this profile I want to show you is under the agent basics. I'm sorry, under web profile, this area here is where you want to have 4 bullet points, and they need to all be different. To get really tricky, the personal profile is what's going to show up on their Moxie website. So you can see here, she has a little splurge on her personal profile. The personal profile features are going to go to the Moxie website. They need to have 4 of these bullet points or 4 different features or categories for them to go to the global luxury website. So if your agent is certified and they're not showing on the global luxury web page, it is probably either they don't have a profile picture or they do not have 4 separate categories for them to feed over. And you can see here, I thought she had 4, but clearly I'm only seeing 3. So when we say bullet points, they are separate profiles. The other one I believe that we add is welcome message. So this is something you want to work out with your agents, but I'm just going to slip that in there because I know she is global luxury certified. I want her to feed to the website. She is a specialist, so we're going to add that one for her. They do need to be different categories. So in this case, we use the personal profile, welcome message. I have these written down. And headline and their expertise or credentials. Those are all the really popular ones that are really easy to add, and they're just pretty generic. So the credentials, expertise, headline, personal profile, that one is really the most important because that's what's going to feed to their Moxie websites. So it's very important you have personal profile in there. You could do specializations, qualifications, anything like that, but 4 is the minimum. And then there's welcome message. So if they are certified and they want their headshot and their branding to feed to that website, there needs to be 4 as well as a headshot. If they are not certified, it will just, I believe it just sends the office information. So more reason for them to get certified. Any questions so far on that? Those couple of things?
I have one question.
Yeah.
It's Pam, sorry.
Hi.
Hi. When you're putting in their URL, can you put in their vanity URL in there? And then would that show up on the website?
Yes.
Okay.
Like in this case, they pay for probably a GoDaddy or whatnot. This is not her company supplied website. This is hers that she pays for, and that's absolutely okay.
Great, thanks.
Yep, you can put that one in there. That's a great question. So that kind of covers the agent kind of side of feeding to some of these things. I do want to, while we're on the global luxury, just kind of flip just to show you really quick how to get a property to feed to the website. So I love this button. This is one of my favorite buttons in an agent profile. It will tell you all the active properties they have, anything they have pending, and anything that's been closed. You can click at the top and that will sort them and filter them. You can click it again and go the other way. But we're going to take one of her active properties. I don't see any prices, so we're going to just guess. And again, if you are unsure of the threshold for global luxury, there is a zip code calculator that will give you the minimum price for each zip code. Now you can see this one is clearly, hopefully a 3.9 million property is, and we want this one to feed. So we're just going to go to features and we're going to let it load. We're going to take a look here. I have not looked if this has been added. You can see it has. If it wasn't, I'm just going to click on feature. I'm going to go, you can keep it at all, or you can actually go down to special program, and then it is global luxury. And then I would just click save. You can click review it if you want. I don't really know what that box does, but sometimes I click it, sometimes I don't. The important thing is that I save it. And then the next thing I want to do is submit it, because I want this to go to Dash as soon as possible so I can get it syndicating. But I also want to make sure that I don't get any errors on it, because if I get an error, it doesn't go to Dash. It will not syndicate past that. It will not advertise. And then we have people upset. So you do get this little message. It's pretty generic. It says says that it went to Dash, but it doesn't have any updates. Now, the way to really see if it did go to get successful, you can pull up Dash, or you can also click on this submission, and you can see here the result type has not appeared for this one I just did, but it clearly is going. It's running in batches automatically. I did a real-time submission, so I'm going to scroll to the right and I'm going to click get results. It does not have it ready yet for some reason. It does take a little bit longer than it used to, but eventually it will update, and I'm going to assume that I get a successful result. If I didn't, and if it failed, it'll tell you the result type. It's either a business violation or there's something that's not complete in the profile that's inhibiting it from going to dash. And that will then give you the error here in this error description. If you don't know what it is, you can always send them to me if you have any questions and we can figure it out. But ultimately, we want to get those to dash. You can see I'm still here in my property profile, and then you can also go down to media stream, and this is where you're going to see all the photos for this. We would no longer have to go to transaction plan once we are fully in Darwin Cloud. And who was it? I think it was Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Were you the one that had asked for the option to add and edit multiple photos? Before we had to do it one at a time, and we had put a request in to have that enhanced, and I do see that they enhanced it. So that's exciting. Before
Yes, they did.
Okay, good.
Makes our life much easier.
It does, for sure. So you can see a $3 million house, very beautiful, has its high resolution photos. So we need the high resolution photos to be marketed in the global luxury. So this is a place you can do that. You can delete all the old ones, add the new ones, and again, just submit to make sure that they go to dash properly. So a couple of things with luxury there. Any questions on luxury, either agent specific or for listings? Oops. Whoops. Can't get back
Oh,
up.
can you show me again where the zip code search is? Because I've had problems finding that in the
Sure.
past.
Yep. Mhm.
I pretty much know that in 49615 where I'm at, it's like 500,000, but
Mhm.
thank you.
Threshold, one word. No. It's in desk. It's in here somewhere. If anybody knows right offhand, it's
Jessica, go ahead and go to marketing
right
on your
here.
left side. On your left side on your marketing, then you'll see global luxury. Click there.
There we are.
And there you go. There's your threshold tool.
Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome.
There may be a link in Schmidt Resources, to be honest.
I think
and then all you do is put your zip code in and it'll tell you the minimum list price. 800,000 for the zip code I'm in. But they do differ, so it is good to look those up. 500,000 is the minimum, I believe, for us for Global Luxury Magazine, but according to the brand, they do follow that zip code, so it is good to know where that is. Does that answer your question, Becky? I think that was Becky.
yes, it does. Thank you
Okay.
so much. I was
Perfect.
trying to find it in the Schmidt resources, but I couldn't
Sure.
find it.
Okay, any questions on luxury or anything else with that? I just want to cover a couple more things. I'm going to actually click back to the agent tab because we're going to kind of work now with some billing and an MLS. So I'm still in Sean's. It does, when I clicked inventory, it pops me over, or when I clicked into the property, it popped me over to the property tab. But all I have to do is click back to the people tab and it takes me right back to where I was. So one thing I really like with that. People basics. Actually, I want people links. So on people links, this is where you're going to add their MLS ID. Some agents have more than one. One's a primary. There's a lot, this happens a lot in Florida. Some of us that are on the cusp, I think Cadillac is kind of in there, but sometimes they have multiple MLS IDs and we need to have both of them in there. Again, this is where we want them to initiate, and this is what's going to feed to Moxie. So it's very simple. You're just going to select your MLS source. And I just wanted to point out, the reason I want to do this is because the feeds have changed a little bit and they're using different types. Some are using the API, some are using the MLS. Dot loop, we don't get into a whole lot. Ohio is the only one I believe right now that has a dot loop feed, and Dash was an initial Dash dump to get people in the system. So really the only ones you want to focus on are this MLS and these APIs. Bridge, I believe, is in Florida. Trestle is, Spark. It's really, if you can't remember, just click one and it's going to tell you what they are. If your MLS is Stellar, you're the Bridge API. If you're Trestle, this is the MLS Now, Gulf Coast, Martin County, and Spark, Real MLS, and then they actually have a different, and then Mishrick, and they actually have a different one for photos. So something to keep in mind, if you don't see your MLS right off the board, just check one of those other feeds. It could be an API instead of the MLS. And that is also going to go for the properties. If you're trying to add a new property, oops. But on that second part, then the ID would go there. So if you are using one of these feeds, say Stellar, you can see it changes the submit as right here. So that's where it's going to put your MLS info. You're just initially going to pick the feed right here. And then their MLS ID would go in there. And again, once you do that, we're going to want to submit, make sure that goes to Dash correctly. The same thing with the property. I'm going to click back to an inventory. If I were to add a new property, I'm going to do the same thing as my MLS. A property's information starts in the MLS and feeds to AccountTech. So it's the same concept. If I want to add a new property, I'm going to add it from the feed as long as it's in the MLS. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick that. You can see these are all MLS feeds. I may need to go down all the way to find my APIs. So I'll pick Mishrick in this case. And then I would put in the MLS number. If it's not already in here, it's going to create a new record. Now, once I hit pull, it would tell me that a new record has been created, or it's going to say a new record has been updated. And that's kind of your key that where to find it. And then you can just go in and it would either connect right to and then you'd be right in the record. If for some reason you know that it's listed in the MLS and it's not pulling it, something can't be found, there are sometimes errors with the feed. So just reach out to me and let me know. We can get it corrected and get it added. Sometimes there was an issue where an office was missing from the feed. They reached out and we were able to get the office added, and they're able to pull it in. So if you know it's listed and you know it's in the MLS, you don't need to manually enter. You can pull it right in if it's not in there already.
Well, I think you just answered my question, Jessica,
Yeah.
because I have never been successful in being able to automatically feed a new active
Okay.
into the thing. It always says it can't find it. And I mean, I just tried again today and
Okay.
I end up adding it manually, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but
Yeah.
it's,
It's more work than is necessary. And it's
It
not
is,
a big
yes.
deal if you do, excuse me, because it will connect to that MLS number eventually and then update it. But it's a lot of manual work we don't necessarily need. So next time you do have that, Becky, send me an email and give me the example, and we can troubleshoot it from there.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. While we're on properties, I wanted to kind of go into canceling transactions and status updates. There is, in the ASC procedure, I just added this. And if you don't have access to this, RSCs are manually adding ASCs to this, but we now have a procedure booklet kind of drive for ASCs. And they're kind of laid out in here. So there's all kind of information, but I did add into the Darwin Cloud the status flow rules for Darwin. We've been seeing a lot of canceled transactions being reactivated. This these do not go to Dash. If they have been in a canceled status, they will no longer submit. This flow chart kind of tells you what statuses can be changed to what. Active listings can go pending, expired, or withdrawn. Pending can either be closed or canceled. Canceled transactions cannot be updated to anything. If you have a canceled transaction, you're going to copy it and create a new record, and that will then allow the information to go to Dash. I will show you that in just a second. And then we have expired and withdrawn. Those can be reactivated. The only one that cannot is if something's been canceled. One of the when you go to submit, one of the submission errors you're going to get is that it's been canceled and it can't be reactivated. That will never go to Dash if it's been canceled, and then we can't e-pay on it, and we can't do much with it. And then we have to create a new record, and it's just a lot of excess work if something's been closed out in a closed record. So if you do see something that's been canceled, please use the copy button, which is right here. You can copy both the listing and the selling info, and then just hit copy. This will create a new link to Dash that it will submit. It's important that we do have things canceled that are canceled so that they mark it properly. We want them, if they're active, to show active, pending as pending. But just keep that in mind. If for some reason the MLS canceled the property or transaction, it's totally okay to copy it and then reactivate it. Now, if there's escrow on it, that's totally okay. Reach out to your commission specialist. They can always reassign it to that new record, or it just needs to stay. You can always cut an escrow check from a canceled or closed record. So it's not something to worry about. It will say duplicated in the front, and that's totally okay too. Any questions on that? So if you have any questions on what statuses can be, they're right here. Sometimes they're locked, so sometimes you have to unlock, save, and then get the drop down, and that's when you're going to find all your statuses available. You can lock the status if they have not updated the MLS and you know it's pending, but it's still active in the MLS. That will auto cancel it. So either reach out to the agent to update the MLS so it matches Darwin, or lock that status, and that won't cancel your pending transactions.
Jess, do we know why it automatically cancels it?
Yes, because we want it to market. Your area is slightly different. We want it to market properly. So if an agent were to not reach out to us and let us know that that pending is no longer, that deal fell through and it's active, it will, and they update the MLS, but they don't update us, we want it to market. So it's going to cancel this so that it sends an active record. Yours is a little bit different, Sarah, because your MLS only allows your active taking backup. They don't want it to show as pending. They want it to show as active. So yours, you need to lock always, or it will overwrite if you mark it pending. But we need it pending in the accounting system so that our reports for our cash flow forecast are correct and accurate.
So is it a safe bet to say just at all times, just make sure that check mark is there for my MLS, at least
for yours? You need to keep a very good eye on it, because if something expires or gets withdrawn or pending, you will need to manually update those. Once you lock that status, they will not update. So if you do have something that expires out, it won't show expired. It'll continue to market forever. And then they get calls on it and agents. So yes and no.
Okay.
Once it's pending, Sarah, go ahead and lock it. But just make sure your agents are very aware they need to reach out to you to notify you that if deals fall through.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, please. Where do I find the ASC procedures? I missed that part.
We are gonna get it. We're in the process of getting everyone added to that. So, the RSCs should already have, should be content managers on that, and then should be able to go in and add their ASCs as viewers. So you're gonna want to just reach out to your ASC, and they'll get you access to that.
Jessica,
Thanks,
but
Karen.
I feel like I should be able to see it and I can't find it in my drive or anything.
I don't think we've added you quite yet, Pam.
Okay.
It's kind of new. We're still
Okay.
working on it.
All right, good
Tia
to
and I
know.
were just discussing right before this. We're like, yeah, we need to add those, add people to it. So
Okay.
next huddle with the ASCs, we're gonna make sure everybody has access with that. I did make notes, and I know I just have a couple of things. Oh, so now that I'm in this record, I'm going to show you a not so obvious cancel. I'm going to just go back and find her inventory, and this time I'm going to use a closed property. Say, let's see, she just closed this one. And my agent, you know, she comes to me and she says, hey, I didn't get my commission breakdown in my email, or I can't find it. Anyway, can you resend it? There's a couple ways to do this. The easiest way I think is to click this email button. And in this email button are all of the campaigns that we have ever created. So this part is a little bit confusing, but once you know the campaign name, it's super simple. If you're ever in doubt, send it to yourself. So here is where we have all of the commission notice and campaigns in here. Now you're going to go all the way to the bottom because there are campaigns that run for closings under over 500,000. What you're looking for are these commission notices that just say your DBA. In this case, Sean is a Schmidt Realtors agent. So I'm going to pick the Schmidt Realtors, and then I'm going to click the agents. And then you can see she is right here. And then I could select her and I could send it. But I just want to do a test. So I'm going to actually send it to myself. Oops. If you're unsure, send the test email to yourself, and then you can look it over before forwarding it to that agent. So just something to keep in mind. It's pretty simple, pretty quick. I'll probably get it here in just a second. So if you need an agent, you don't have to go through all the stuff. You're just going to pull up the record and you're going to click email, click the campaign, and then you're going to skip these first top ones and you're going to go down to commission notice. And that's where you're going to see they're all set up by DBAs. If you're looking for license expiration, there's a few of them that you can pick. So go in, run some reports, test it out, and see what you can find. So if anybody's looking for their commission notices, that is the best place to find them, that I think. As far as billing and their statements, you can run this report up here. All ASCs should have the billing. And I believe it is agent invoice statement, and it's under accounting. So if an agent wants to know what their bill is, you can pick the date. I would just probably do all time. It shows everything that they owe. And then you're just going to run it for the agent that you want specifically, or you can run it for your office if you need to send them all out. But ASC should have access to those. So a couple of things to assist your agents. Any questions on those things that we covered? I know we covered quite a few things, and we're a little bit over time. So just to recap, we kind of went over the global luxury specialist, how to get them to advertise properly. They need those 4 bullet points and a headshot, marking their inventory then that is capable of feeding to the global luxury website with that special program that global luxury feature. Adding MLS IDs and when to pick an MLS feed or an API feed, their billing and statements, and then their commission notices, and their inventory, my favorite button in AccountTech for some reason. Their URL, that one is a very big one. I do recommend going through your agents in your office and just double checking that that their websites are showing. And then canceling transactions, we don't ever want to reactivate those. It allows you to reactivate it, but we don't ever want to do that. We want to use that copy button instead, because that will allow it to go to Dash, and then we can e-pig on those and pay our brand. Quick recap. Any questions? Any questions on anything else on AccountTech or Darwin Cloud? Other than that, that's all I have for today. Thank everyone for joining me, and we will see you again shortly.
I guess I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just had a Rider 120 come through, so I need to cancel that. So, but the weird thing is she's got a backup offer on it. So I don't want it to, but you know, we have the EMD. So I do want to copy it, right? So that I can add the new information. Does that make sense?
It does. You do want a new record. That's correct. I would not copy it. I would cancel it. And then it says when you want to reactivate it, you click yes, and that will
Okay.
create a new record.
Oh, okay.
And then you can put in, it will actually, I do believe, keep the listing side if we're the listing agent.
Right.
It will keep the
both.
listing info in there.
Okay. Yep.
It will
Well,
copy
actually,
that.
she's both. So she's the listing and the buyer.
It'll keep the listing as far as the seller and those types of things, but it'll allow you to add a new buyer, an EMD.
Okay. All right.
It
Cool.
won't copy the EMD. So that is a really good question. So they get a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
But for auditing purposes, paper trail purposes, we do want a new record of that. We don't want to just remove the buyer and then add a new one in.
Right. Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions? Those are great questions. They're you know, there's just not obvious things or things you think you may know, but maybe you're just unsure and then guessing. So always reach out if you ever have questions. If something's not feeding properly, if something's not pulling in properly, prices, agents, or anything's not attaching to listings that it should, reach out, because most often or not, we don't know about it and we can easily fix it and just make your life easier. That's what we're here for, right? All right. That's all I have today. Thanks for joining me. Have a good
Jessica. Bye.
Bye.